how did it go this week? Does anybody have something to share? Have you been good? Have you been practicing? How did you feel? Anything stood out? Any insight? Some insights I had. You're not telling me yours, I'm telling you mine. But yesterday morning, it was a sense of something in me was asking or was saying, oh, I had my eyes closed, and I was observing. And then this voice said, what if there is nobody? I was like, what? What if there is nobody inside? And I saw a part of me that went like, shit, wait a second. This other part got really nervous, And yet the first voice was like, stay with that. What if there is nobody? And I saw this, maybe we can define it as consciousness talking to me and the ego on the other side answering, And the ego was like, whoa. Oh, what do you mean nobody? You can't just be an empty body, That's horrible. You're gonna be like a zombie. Look around, walking around with nobody inside. That's a zombie. And then consciousness was like, just stay with it. What if there is nobody? And so I saw this old inner dialogue going on where something was really feeling threatened and scared by that possibility. That there's nobody inside. Yet, even if I heard, hundreds of times Osho saying, well, you might see me sitting here, but there is nobody sitting on this chair. And I was like, whatever, yeah, okay. But yesterday there was this sense of nobodiness, this presence inside, and there was almost like it felt good. It felt really good. It felt so empty and so peaceful. And yet there was this conversation. Another part of me was like, don't be so quiet. You're disappearing here. This is not good. Danger, red light. And yet when I let it be, it took me to a very peaceful space where suddenly I could sense why my master was always saying the ego is the only barrier, between you and existence, between you and the divine. And of course I understand it, and I explain it to you because I understand it, I can explain it. And we know the ego is basically a filter, right? We talked about it. It's like having color glasses, blue lenses, you put them on and everything looks blue. So according to what our preconceived ideas are, that are part of the egoic self, we interpret our experience, what we perceive, we interpret reality according. So reality is blue because I got blue ego glasses on, right? But if I take the glasses off, it's like, oh, not everything is blue. Look how many colors. Wow. Yeah. So really, when we can release this egoic self, it's when we feel and perceive life, this moment, for what it is. And I understand why all masters have said, in the moment you're empty, then existence starts pouring in. But unless you're empty, there is no space. It reminds me of this really sweet Zen story of a guy that goes to a Zen master, and he said, "Master, I really, really beg you, give me some hint. You know, how can I experience more truthfully what is happening? You know, I have been seeking and seeking for years, and I still somehow don't get it." And the master said, "Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's have a cup of tea first." And he said, "Okay." So the master prepared the tea, and then he has 2 cups, and the teapot is ready. And then he put the cups in front of the guy, and he started pouring tea, you know, and the cups get full, and then it gets to the top of the cup. The cup is full, and the master keeps pouring and pouring. It never stops, and the tea starts overflowing from the cup. And the guy like, master is full. The cup is full. You can't fit more tea in there." And then the master looks at him and he says, "That's how you are. You're full. There is no space for any extra tea to go in. You know, first you have to empty the cup." So I was feeling a little bit like that yesterday, you know, like how important it is to empty oneself so that we can actually receive. Because there is an amazing, magical, mind-blowing existence all around us, isn't it? But we don't even see it sometimes. We're so busy, we're so full that we don't even have time to stop and enjoy the green of the trees, or the flowers that are blooming, or hearing the sound of the wind between the leaves, or the waves of the ocean, the breath of the earth. There is so much magic happening every single moment, and we don't even notice it because we're so busy inside, we're so full. So empty oneself is really the secret. Now, how to do that? Because the ego is not something you can actually grab it and throw it away, because it's, in a way, it's a shadow. It's a man-created, a society-created entity, identity as well, with which we identify, that has been created through concepts, right? It's not like, oh, here is the ego. Obviously, I grab it and throw it away. It's like a shadow. You can't fight with shadows, right? So I think that those moments of grace, of letting go, we can only prepare ourselves to let go, but we cannot let go. But it will happen, and it happens also in small moments, like for me yesterday, no? So it's important to have an understanding that if that wants to happen, we can also, and we know that the ego is not going to allow it. We have enough understanding to see this happening. It's like, okay, this is my egoic mind freaking out, and this is something that is happening that feels really good. You know, if you don't have that understanding, you might end up listening to the thinking mind, and that's it. It's over, right? So it's very important to have the understanding. That's why we're talking so much about things, to bring an understanding, so that when we start experiencing certain things, we have more clarity about what is happening. So one thing to understand about the ego is also that it's a shadow, true. And we can reinforce it through doing. So it's very important in our practice. We realize when we're going over a certain edge and it starts to become a doing. Because our true self is beingness. There's no doing. Meditation is not a doing. The ego is action, is doing always. It's always doing. So we have to be very careful that the spiritual ego that we're developing through meditation does not start engaging in turning meditation into a doing. That's why I don't teach techniques. They might be helpful at a certain stage, but they become also an hindrance because it's again doing. That's why I teach anchors. The anchors are not techniques. Anchors are, I'm just pointing to you, look, there's something already happening. For example, your breath. Bring your attention there. There's nothing to do. Don't tamper with it. Don't do anything. Just observe. Or look, there is a force of gravity. Your body has a weight. You can bring your attention there to anchor yourself more in the present moment, but there's nothing to do. You just need to relax. Relax even more. Relaxing is not a doing. And sense it and feel it, So move away from the analytical mind into feeling, into sensing, observing what is already happening. That's not a technique. So we want to avoid any doing when possible. And so also be careful to make it a discipline. I'm going to sit every morning at 8 o'clock. I'm going to sit until 9. Okay. Sometime we need to create a structure. Some people are a little bit like, woo, like leaves in the winds. So if you don't create a structure, it never happens. Then fine, create a structure. But then once in a while, remember to loosen up, Don't force yourself. Otherwise, you start again to go into a doing. Maybe sometime you don't feel like sitting at 8. Maybe you want to sit at 9. Or maybe sometime you don't feel like sitting at all. Then don't, Don't make anything a rigid thing, a discipline. Because those are the way of the ego to actually keep being functioning. Then it's still the ego working. The same when you have beautiful experiences, when you practice, oh my God, I had this blue light, it felt really good, great. So what? Are you still there or not? Right? So don't let the ego grab any experience you might have that felt really good, and then, okay, I want to have more of that, Come on, I'm going to sit, so I'm going to have that same experience. We are back in the ego is back there, yeah? Then you expect something, then it's never going to happen anyway. So don't expect anything, and if something happens beautiful, let it go. We are observing. We are witnessing. That's the only thing we are doing. That is not a doing. That is why witnessing is the foundation of meditation, because it is the only thing where we're not doing anything. Witnessing, it's a natural quality of consciousness. Consciousness is conscious, right? That's why we are able to witness everything that happens. So when we are in a relaxed state without doing anything, there is consciousness that is aware that is observing, that is aware of what is experienced in that moment. It has nothing to do, it's its quality. So again, that is not a doing. Anything else becomes a doing. Anything else becomes a doing. So you will never be empty because you're adding doing. So witnessing is the only tool that allows us to experience the present moment without doing anything at all. So we are out of the picture, or let's say the ego is out of the picture. When there is witnessing, the ego is not there. There's nothing to do. So, yeah, these are things to understand to facilitate that sense of emptiness to settle in. And see, and bring awareness to the fact, well, am I doing something? Am I like trying to reach something? Do I have a goal in this moment? Am I sitting because I have a goal to become enlightened or to stop my mind, or whatever goal you put is going to create such a tension that there's no way you can relax. And maybe it's subtle, maybe the tension is subtle, but it's in the background. It will never let you go deep inside into a deep state of peace and relaxation. So we have to be very aware of how the ego wants to control, create a concept of time. Well, if you meditate at least 1 hour, not less. Why? 10 minutes can be more deep and intense than 10 hours. It all depends on the quality of presence, no? Yeah. So yesterday I felt this, oh, what a sense of relief to let go of this entity that I know as Shastro, you know, this personality. It was like, oh, scary, and also like, wow, oh my God, peace, total peace. Personality is what we use to identify with and present to the world. This is who I am. And we believe it. And other people believe it too. This is my image. The persona is in the Greek, in the ancient Greek theater. The persona was the mask that the actor would wear, right? Perfect word, no? So personality comes from persona, from the Greek persona, which means mask. So an actor would wear a certain mask that correspond to a certain character. We have in Italy also in Commedia dell'arte, it's the same. There's like Pulcinella, Arlecchino, Pantalone, there's many characters. Each of them has a different mask. One has a long nose, one is black, one is white, whatever. According to what mask you wear, what mask the actors would wear, he has to embody that character, which has, you know, a certain way to move, a certain way to talk, and everybody knows his character, you know. So actors in Commedia dell'arte, they study for years and years and years to specialize in one character, you know. Or one is like really good in being Pantalone, or one is very good in being Arlecchino or Pulcinella, whatever. And so they all have their own mask, which is for that character, right? So that is the personality. So I'm wearing Shastro's mask. You know, Melchior wears his Melchior mask. And Mickey wears his Mickey mask. Everybody has his own personality. But it is not our true self. You know, and in those moments when you touch these spaces of, whoa, maybe there is nobody here, you realize you're releasing that sense of identity, you know, You're releasing, you're taking off the mask for a moment with yourself. And suddenly you're so spacious and so quiet that you can start experiencing a lot more. A lot starts pouring in, like the cup has been empty, so existence can pour a little tea now. Yeah. So in our practice, witnessing, number one, and then silence, space, and stillness. I call them the S Trinities. The S Trinity is much better than the Holy Ghost and the Son and the Father. What was it? The Son, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Silence, stillness, space. These are three facets of consciousness that are really pointing to a non-doing. So if we can sit with any of these three qualities, it's good always. Silence, and they all are in a way different expression of the same thing. No? Silence means the mind is quiet. There is not a ripple, right? It also means stillness. Silence can also be stillness because the water of the lake is completely still without a ripple, right? There is silence, there is stillness, and there is a sense of space inside. Yeah. You can enter from any of these three doors, you'll find the same, you get to the same room. You can enter through stillness, you can enter through silence, you can enter through a sense of inner space, inner body, like we practiced. And these are qualities that if you are concerned, like, am I working from my ego or not? I'm not sure I'm doing the right thing. Just be silent. Just tune into the silence inside. You can't go wrong. Or tune into the stillness. Tune into that feeling of, wow, nothing is moving. I'm like a stone statue and nothing is moving inside or outside. Tune into that. Rest there. Can you just rest there? Or tune into the inner space, like we practice the inner body anchor. Just rest there, space. It means emptiness. Any of these three qualities are very, very supportive of letting go of the ego, being present, and will keep you on track in case you have a doubt that I'm not sure I'm doing the right thing. Definitely, you can't go wrong with these three, any of the three. In the moment I sometimes remember during the day and I tune into silence inside, and I feel silence in my belly. And in that exact moment, suddenly I start hearing a lot of different sounds that were not there before. It's like that. It takes like less than a second. I'm always amazed. I go like, whoop, tune into silence. Suddenly, wow, I feel so much more. I hear so much more. I sense so much more. So try during your day. Pick one of these three qualities and do it for a few days. Just every time you remember, tune into that quality inside of you and watch what happens. Watch how your perception in that exact moment, the perception changes of everything. You hear more, you see more, you sense more, you feel more. Try it as a practice for this coming week. And then you tell me how it went. What was your experience? I like to hear that. Okay. Shall we sit together a little bit?